Hi, I'm Luann Midgley with Tell Your Story Videos, and this is Shop Talk. Today I'm going to be speaking with Lauren Degolia. Lauren is an astrologer. Now, I connected with Lauren through Instagram. I started following her months ago and started to really enjoy her posts. I loved the way she communicated. She was just so fun as well. And I decided to reach out because, I don't know, I was curious. I wanted to get a reading done. And so she read my natal chart, and it was a very powerful meeting. And I'm so glad I did it. And I knew right away I wanted to have Lauren on Shop Talk. So, welcome, Lauren, to Shop Talk. I am so looking forward to speaking with you. Lauren, how did you become, and I quote from your client reviews, insightful, passionate, thorough, thoughtful, fun astrologer? I mean, how did you become an astrologer?
Well, I always like to say astrology found me. I wasn't actively seeking it out at the point of my life where there was this big astrological collision in my life, but I was going through a really hard time in my life. I was looking for answers. I wasn't quite sure where to look, how to look. I knew that I just didn't feel great with where I was at. I was looking for a different approach. I had worked in corporate America for almost 20 years, pretty much since I had left college, and I had a really rough exit. I was trying to reinvent myself a little bit, and change just kind of slapped me in the face. And I ended up quitting my job kind of in a Thelma and Louise moment of I'm taking my power back. I'm going to stand here in my true essence, and the universe is going to have my back. And 6 weeks later, and lots of tears later, I decided to enroll in astrology school from what I would consider one of the top astrologers in the world. Her name is Deborah Silverman. And I had no idea what I was signing up for, truly, like not a clue. And I didn't have any money because I had just quit my corporate career. I didn't have any money, and I had to apply for a scholarship to go to astrology school. And I sat on my bed one morning on my phone, typing in my application to be accepted into the scholarship program. And I had tears just pouring down my face. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I felt called to do this. And within a couple of weeks, I was accepted. And a couple of weeks after that, I started. And truly, my first pass through the course, I was only half paying attention. Like, I kind of got it, but didn't really get it. And if anyone has ever studied astrology, they know that this is a really technical, difficult, confusing practice. Like, this isn't something, it's like learning a brand new language. Like, I might as well have tried to learn Chinese because it's the same kind of complexity. And then it's got that metaphysical element to it where you're really trying to understand energetically how it all works together. So my journey to astrology has really been something that has been based in my own healing. It's been based in my own version of self-discovery. And it wasn't until I was taking the third course in the offering that this astrologer provided that I was like, I want to do this. I feel like I can do this for other people. And it's funny because over the course of the coursework that I did, one of my mentors was like, Lauren, like, you have a signature in your chart that you could be an astrologer. Like, this could be your business. And I was like, yeah, right. And truly, for the first 6 months, I was like, there's no way. I'm just going to use this because it's been really fun to learn. And then it was like a light switch flipped on. And that light switch was, I can empower other people to have the same change in their life, to see themselves in a new way that they have never seen before. I want to make things fun. I want to make it feel like there's some cheerleading that goes on in having people tap into a different side of themselves. And then there's that thoughtful and practical, like, I want to treat people the way that I want to be treated, or the way that I want to be mentored or guided. And as I was going through this, what I would consider great awakening process in my life, I I would have loved to have someone like me to say, hey, like your identity, it's shifting. You're leaving that old version of yourself behind. And I want to help you find that new version of yourself. And here are some things to try along the way. And so as everything kind of unfolded, and it was like this perfect parallel between taking these astrology courses, really diving into my own healing, my own identity creation, truly burning my old identity to the ground, and then starting fresh and finding my footing. Like it all was happening simultaneously. And I just started doing readings, and I just started figuring out like, and most of them were friends to start with, right? And someone that I've known for a number of years said to me, oh my gosh, like this, I've never known this side of you. Like you are a natural at this. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like I almost didn't want to believe it. But as time has now gone on and I've heard that reinforcing feedback over the course of the last couple of years, it's kind of stuck. And I feel more confident and more able to connect with people in a really unique way. And I just love it.
Oh, that's incredible. I love your journey and your story from corporate America to an incredible astrologer. And how do you bridge that in your skills and talents with your previous life in corporate world to what you're doing now? And do some of those skills transfer and is it helping you in your business?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of my skills transfer. Like, I am who I am first, right? And who I was in corporate America, I was a corporate strategist who was helping tell a $600 million picture for a luxury retailer here in the Seattle area, and essentially taking very complex, very challenging ideas and synthesizing them down to a very practical output, a very practical, consumable data point, let's say. And so it's the same kind of idea with astrology, right? Like my special sauce, my special skill is being able to take a lot of information and distill it down into something that's actionable. And so as I go through people's charts, just like I did yours, as I go through people's charts, I pick up on those themes, I see those connective points, and I intuitively then tune into where's the opportunity for change? Where's the opportunity to spark a conversation that's going to make this person think about their life in a different way? And it's not for me to, as a guide, for me to be like, hey, this is what you need to hone in on, or this is what you need to do. Like, this is how you do it. It's for me to spark the conversation. And so that's where that consistency of big picture thinking down to small actionable steps, like really serves me in this space.
Yes, it's incredible. And having had experienced my session with you, that's exactly what I saw. And it was something that I could grasp and understand. And I'm a pretty logical person. So I appreciated all those skills that you brought to the reading. And so when you work with a client and you're reading their natal chart, and that's one of the ways to work with you.
Mhm.
What's important to you as far as helping your client then apply some of that learning after their session with you? And do you have a couple examples around that?
I do, yeah. So, I had never had an astrological reading before I joined astrology school. So I think that kind of sets me apart from most people. And the person that I learned from is like, this has to be practical. This has to be actionable, because otherwise it's just a whole lot of fluff. And so my approach is a few fold. The first fold is, this is a super sacred, safe space that you're coming to when you sit in front of me, either virtually or in person. Like, there's no judgment. There's nothing but like warmth and love. And I want you to feel seen, and I want you to walk away feeling empowered to make change. Over the course of the conversation that I have with people, I really hone in on what are some very small tweaks, very small steps that they could make today, when they hang up the phone with me, when they walk away, that is going to set them on a different trajectory. Because if I give someone a piece of advice or guidance that says, hey, like you should just quit your job, like that's not helpful. Like that's going to cause nothing but confusion in their life. Their brain is going to flip out going, wait, this crazy woman told me I should quit my job. Like, no. So I like giving small practical tidbits. It's almost like breadcrumbs that's going to lead them to the next step or the next stage, as long as they stay curious. And so as I go through different readings and different conversations, I pick up astrologically those little breadcrumbs. Maybe there's, an elemental piece of homework that they need to do around fire, air, water, or earth based on what they're missing. And I say, hey, you need to infuse, try to infuse this into your everyday. Or I say, hey, you might be able to find more balance if you do these things, or think about this differently. And a lot of it is things truly that we end up resisting. And it's funny, like 10 times out of 10, someone will say, oh yeah, I've really been thinking that I should start doing that. And so the message that I get to relay is exactly what is already at the surface. And it's just super powerful because they're already tapped into that side of themselves. They just need that mirrored back to them. And I don't know that, right? Like I just say what I say, but it's so powerful because the universe aligns the message with the need.
Yes, it's incredible. Again, having experienced this with you, how your natal chart can tell so much about yourself, and so I was really quite blown away by that, by my
Yeah.
reading with you. Now, do you see a common thread in why clients are reaching out to you, Lauren? Is it out of curiosity, or do you think that people are becoming a little bit more open to what the universe and the energies in the universe is trying to connect and say to them? Do you think they're more open to that these days?
I would say yes on all fronts. So number one, back in the end of 2020, we pivoted into the age of Aquarius, which energetically means that we are now more open to this type of application in our everyday life, whatever that means for you. That could be, I believe astrologically that I can tap into understanding this more and applying it to my life and living a more balanced, fulfilled, aligned purpose. There are also people that, and this is where my niche is really focused on helping people who are wanting to learn more. I want to be that entry point for them, because a lot of astrologers I see out there, and they are all valuable. There's absolutely no criticism here, but it's not practical. It doesn't seem understandable because it's so complex. And so I really am focused on that slice of women really who are in the jobs that don't feel fulfilling, the marriages that feel like, I'm not sure what I want next, the lives that, it's like they're looking for that spark, they're wanting that little change, or they're wanting to just feel seen and validated on how they're feeling about this change, and give permission to themselves to make that next step forward in whatever that looks like for them. And so I think it's a little bit of, and then there's the curiosity, right? It's like, oh, people, I'm seeing this on the internet a lot. All my friends are into it, and I don't know what that means or what they're saying, but they really seem to jive with how this relates to their life. And so it's multifold, but I think when you take a little bit of each, it's just about giving yourself permission to align with what I like to call your highest self, or your highest purpose, your highest path, and walking that path and finding out like what's the next thing that you're supposed to learn and figure out for yourself.
What do you tell people who don't believe in astrology?
I tell them that I didn't believe in it either. And this wasn't something that I really accepted about myself as a practical tool in my life. But I think of it as just that. It's just a tool. It's not a silver bullet. It's not, the big mystery of your life unlocked. Think of it like the Enneagram or the Strength Finder, where you're just learning more about yourself in a metaphysical way that you get to decide how that application of this tool gets to show up for you. I think it's important to just share that, like, I resisted the woo side of myself for a really long time. In fact, I was knee deep in learning astrology, and I was telling my therapist, like, I don't know about this. Like, this doesn't really feel or seem like me. And, I laugh about it now because I never envisioned that this would be the work of my life that I would be doing here. And yet here I am trying to help champion other women leaning into this side of themselves that can feel so empowering. So what I would say to them directly is, I would love 15 minutes of your time to go through a free cosmic consult with you, and like let me share my insights. And if they don't resonate, the worst that's going to happen is you lose 15 minutes of your life. And the likelihood is they're going to be like, that's really interesting. So
Lauren, how do people work with you? What different ways can people meet with you and learn more about astrology and what you offer?
yeah, so working with me is pretty straightforward. I start with one-on-one readings where I want to dive in preliminarily to your natal chart. And that's usually about a 60-minute phone call, which we can do either on Zoom, which it's recorded, so you have it, so you can play it back as many times as you want. And essentially what we do is, because astrology is an art as well as a science, we identify how the energy you have access to in your natal chart actually shows up in your life. And we talk about different themes, different patterns. We talk about timing in your life. That's the science of astrology, is, you have different access to different energy based on planetary placement. And then you also have different access to energy based on timing in your life. So the marriage of the art and the science is really important to understand in order for me to actually equip you with tools and suggestions on how to continue to navigate forward. So that's kind of first and foremost. And I actually require to do additional sessions. That's the entry point for working with me. I also offer mentorship sessions, which are one-on-one individual coaching, which dives deep into your chart, deep into your energy. We talk about all the different big three is what it's called astrologically. So your sun sign, your moon sign, which is your emotional body, how you handle and process stress or trauma, and then your rising sign, which is how you continue to grow. I like to call it your growth edge, astrologically speaking. And so I have a 4-week program that I walk people through. And to me, like, I'm really looking for the right person that is at that cusp in their life, ready to make that big change, ready to learn more about how to continue to apply this and tap into working energetically within their own life. And then I also offer follow-up readings. People like to come back usually about once a year, or when just things seem to crop up. They'll know intuitively, like, I'm feeling like I'm looking for a different answer on this. And I can usually shed some light on what's going on energetically for them based on their chart.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. You have just imparted a huge amount of information in today's Shop Talk. I really appreciate you coming on and taking a few minutes of your busy day out to be on the show. And all the best to you and going forward. And I look forward to speaking more about my life with you and doing more with you as well.
I can't wait for that, Luann. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so great to be here today. And I'm just so impressed with the work that you're doing and how you're pulling everything together. It's really inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much, Lauren. Take care.
You too.